Hello there, YouTube. This is Sibbles and Bits back at it again, and we are playing some more Inkbound. Today, we're no longer living in the future. It is Wednesday. We are playing Weaver. The patch is live. Oh, it feels so great being back to normal time. I don't know what the heck was going on yesterday. My brain was just broke. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what else much to say. We already have the topic for this upcoming Sit Down Saturday. I'm going to technically do a tier list, but it's more of like I don't like doing tier lists in the general sense because the game's complicated. So it's more along the lines of like placing where I think things are balance wise and then explaining where different drafted abilities are good versus bad, their pros, their cons. Again, I don't really want to like make this channel for the purpose of like telling you guys how to play the game. I don't think that that's appropriate. I don't like making the channel just to show you guys how to play the game. I like to make the channel to sort of like give you guys the information you guys need so that you can start developing your own way of playing the game and you can make the decision for yourself as far as if Bits is absolutely off his rocker when he says that Jinx isn't as bad as everybody says it is. We'll have to find out if that didn't already make you unsubscribe. But anyways, just have an eye out for that. It should be coming out this Saturday, or you can catch it in the there's a playlist now for Sit Down Saturdays. It will also appear in the Inkbound playlist because it is an Inkbound related subject. And still, even though I've already like locked in what the topic is for this week, if you have any other topics you want me to go over, feel free to put that down in the comments below and I'll add it to the list. Anyways, so we are here. We are playing Weaver. Inflict ailments is relatively good on Weaver. We can take a white on Stitch. That counts as 2 hits every time that we hit something with it, but still going to take a while for us to get there. But generally speaking, inflicting ailments is easy. It's just a question of like how quickly we can get it done. Spike dodge attacks doesn't look good at all. I'm really not a fan of that. Argoloth is deal damage, which I believe last time we did a tanky Weaver versus Argoloth, so we might just go against Cynder. I hear a lot of people have troubles with Weaver versus Cynder because of the tangles. We're going to see if we can't deal with that. And again, the quest isn't absolutely suffer. So what we're looking for here is any source of application. But another thing that we would love to see, Burden of Wisdom, obviously. Weaver loves AP, or sorry, Will. It's so weird coming from Arcanium because AP actually means something in this game, and I can't just see like, oh, I meant action points. Like, everyone's going to assume that I mean ability power. But, I mean, Weaver likes ability power too, because that allows you to conserve your constrict single target. But yeah, Will, because we have to set up, is very crucial for Weaver. But mostly just an applicator so that we can get started on this. There's Beat of Flame. I'm not sure if that's the ticket though. Pulsar Belt is very great, like crowd clear. And like these are all good, right? And I'll go ahead and I'll explain. Pulsar Belt is very easy for Weaver because you don't get that much shielding, even when you finally get like your shield dog, because generally speaking, we get shielding according to what's threaded at the start of the turn. Having one shielding allows you to trade a lot better, just in general, and that's good for Weaver because Weaver's early game is very poor defense. Like I said, in order for you to shield, you have to have things threaded at the end of the turn, which means that you have to thread things, which always isn't the correct move. and then those things also probably dealt damage to you unless they were AoEs. It's very complicated, but very often you'll produce not enough shielding because, again, Weaver trades a lot in the early game, and so Pulsar Belt, if we're able to scale magic power, ability power, however we go about it, if it's able to do 71 damage, which granted is quite, like, that's 50% power is what we need on it, but if we're able to get to that point, most of the trash in the first book is just dead. And so if we don't have to thread trash, we don't have to like, it saves up a ton of action economy for us. Otherwise, Beat of Flame is excellent single target because again, it's not as good as Beat of Ivy, but against most bosses, when you are picking up the beat of your orbs every turn, just being able to stack burn onto there is a great way to scale up some damage for free. There's also a lot more stuff that interacts with things that are on fire than things that interact with things that are poisoned, because poison, I'm guessing because it was so powerful in the pre-alpha, it's sort of in a weird state where it's very binary. It usually doesn't exist, and when it does exist, not to say it doesn't do anything, because it does, like, good damage in most cases. It's just, when you look at stuff like Frostbite, you look at stuff like Burn, bleeds in kind of the same way. It has no functionality attached to it. Whereas Burn, you can do a lot of stuff with Burn. And it also scales magic power, which we like because a majority of our skills scale with magic power. Twin Fangs is great. The only thing is that the critical AUG on Stitch got neutered. So I feel differently about Twin Fangs, but still, I appreciate this way much more than something like Illuma's Whetstone, because it's a great way for us to get a lot of crit chance. And then usually, well, hopefully it doesn't proc on your 1, it'll proc on your 2 or your 3, and then you've got good burst damage where you need it. Anyways, I think the ticket here is Beat of Flame, but I really do like Pulsar Belt. Let's take a look at what our AUGs are. Okay, so we do have the Elemental Stitch. Frost Infused Threads is also somewhat notable. Weaver probably uses Frost better than most other people because of the interaction with Constrict and Stitch in some regards. So the problem about Constrict is that it's very good single target, but once you get everything threaded, it kind of becomes like a wasted button. Like, sometimes it'll secure kills, but for the most part, that's only versus trash, and you need to scale physical power in order to keep using it, or, all that sort of, odd stuff. Frost Infused Threads puts 1 Frostbite on everything, so if at the start of the turn you want to go ahead and constrict everything, you now have 1 free Frostbite, which is 25 damage, that you're scaling with magic power, which is generally what you do, and it makes it much easier to just, clear stuff without having to worry about, where exactly your threads are. But it runs into the same problem as, shielding on Weaver, where, okay, so this is pretty much only going to happen on stuff that's still alive. So what kind of trash mobs are still going to be alive? You're going to thread, have time to thread, and then at the start of the next turn, most of the trash mobs direct target you, right? The bits, the bats, the spear holders. And so if you're leaving them threaded, they're absolutely dealing damage to you. So they're priority number 1. So Frost Infused Threads, which would really help versus bats, bits, etc., does nothing to help you with those. So in most cases, it's mediums and heavies. You get an extra 25 damage a turn, which still is something. Like for a common AUG, like it's basically a free auto attack on everything that's threaded, so long as you're hitting them. But my only like gripe that I'm having here is this will technically hit things more often, but this can hit many things technically twice at once. But it's got a cooldown. You got to have everything again threaded. This has more setup, so it's a little hard for me to grab this, but I think we are going to grab that. And if we're going to grab that, if we also grab Beat of Flame, I think that we're going to be okay. Alright, so what are we doing here? When an enemy is hit, they gain DR. If we're doing a DOT build, we... Well, actually, does this fall off? I keep forgetting. I think this falls off before enemies take DOT damage, so then we really wouldn't care about this. But I don't feel confident enough that we got a strong enough DOT build at this point in the game that we'd want to take Inkshell, especially versus Giannis. Notable, we do have Beat of Flame, so if we can somehow make sure that Giannis is the closest thing to us whenever we pick up an orb, that will stack up and help us, like, phase him. But it's not going to do all of our heavy lifting like, say, Beat of Ivy will. And so it's going to be a very awkward fight. How do we feel about Little Lusk? I think that we could definitely do Little Lusk. Shimmering Barricade is kind of iffy with DOTs, but Burn is probably one of the best DOTs to do that. The one where this really sucks is if you're set up for Poison, because Poison drops very fast if you're not able to apply it a lot. So if I had Beat of Ivy, I would pretty much say that, okay, odds are is that we're not going to get a lot of damage on this. Heavy Pockets is probably the easiest thing that we could possibly pick up. The only problem is that I see with this is we're very easily going to get to max cap if we don't like find a way to spend our cash. And Weaver actually does need to move around, so this might increase the likelihood that we want to use stuff like Blink. But I don't think that it's bad. And DOTs versus Inferno is pretty good. The only thing that I don't like about this setup is that we're going into worms, but what the heck are you gonna do, right? So I'm gonna ask you guys down in the comments, what's your favorite thing in the patch? My favorite thing in the patch? Those damn pots finally got their health nerfed. Whew. It's by like 10 to 15%, but that shit adds up when you add all the multipliers that they end up getting, and especially in multiplayer. I'm super thankful for it. Like, I'm glad I wasn't crazy and they were just like, I don't know, data entry error, or like when they changed the balance of the game. We are going to go for control leaving here because this is a very easy setup for us. And then we're going to go ahead and bop all these things because that gives us, oh, then I guess we're going to do this. I don't like that you guys are alternating your resistances. We're going to trade 4 here, which is honestly like pretty good. We're going to gain only 1 HP here, or 1 shielding. But these guys are doing AoE. We can focus on these guys right now. But we're going to want to wiggle up to that orb there. Go ahead, take that, wiggle down. Go ahead, hit these. 1 bop here will take care of that. I can also just do this, even though you're going to be resistant versus it. Might as well, honestly. Okay, we're going to go for controlled weaving again, but I kind of want to get this in 2. So we're going to use this orb here to wiggle through. I don't think I'm actually going to get this. Don't you play with my heart. Alright, well, guess we're going to spike here. Then grab you guys. Thread you together. Flap, flap. Yeah. Not being able to have them together meant that we lost a little bit more health. Again, if we would have taken Pulsar Belt, it would have went pretty freaking hard right there. Of these options here, I honestly don't mind taking good crit damage. It's possible that we're supposed to heal, simply so that we don't end up spending money. I keep forgetting to not take a look at this until we see our ability. So what are we looking for here? We're going up against Rinferno. We already have Burn Synergy. Surprise, surprise, Incinerate would be pretty good. We already talked about Blink, due to the fact that we have Heavy Pockets. How am I feeling about in After Image? Not so much. Cleave is okay. It's very good for our early game where we're weakest, about helping us kill mediums. It helps us boss, and I don't know, it just like does a thing. It does decent damage. We're probably going to ignore it into the late game unless we somehow end up with like a ton of physical power or something like that. But Cleave can give us shields, all sorts of stuff like that. Invigorate is interesting on this build. I don't think that it actually helps us much, due to where the game is currently asking us to go, what with the DOTs and whatnot. But I kind of respect Invigorate on Weaver, simply because it allows you to double constrict in the early game, which is huge single target, especially if you also get this to the, if you get an early purple and this gives you a critical charge, it could go pretty hard. After Image, basically just helping us shore up our defense against things that are going to auto attack us, like worms, and allowing us to get critical charges. The only problem I have with Weaver is I really don't like seeing that on Thread, like at all. Like most other classes have good, like chunky auto attacks that, you know, if a crit ends up on Bonk, like it's not nothing. If it ends up on, what is it, Throw, like it shouldn't, because usually Throw is going to have crit. Well, maybe not anymore after the changes. Like, it's still fine. But it's still a decent skill. And we did take some critical damage, so I could see that being good too. But I think in this, like, we could re-roll too, but I don't think that that's necessary. I think After Image might be the play here. We go back, we re-roll, we might get Precise. If we get Precise on that, holy lord. Like, that's going to be a huge spike of damage. There it is. I love to see it. And so we're probably going to want to do like lowered cooldown at this point. I could also see us taking an extra critical charge, but for the most part, I think that we're going to lower it. Does it get a free? I should know this. If it gets a free use, I might take that. But this is all just like, we don't know what the candidacy is, so we're gonna see that when we get there. Okay, so here's the deal. We're gonna do that. We are getting auto attacked, so we are going to hit this. Give me this power orb. Then I'm going to hit that. Blap you. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to get you. We are definitely in a way here. Especially with these guys having plat cannon, we are kind of in trouble. I don't think that we're going to get the pot here, but with our current setup. Trying to look at our skills we have available and what we would want to... Like, we might Mercurial here. Mercurial could go into using this. And then we might auto attack. Might use After Image to negate 4 damage. That also negates 4 damage. Unfortunately, we're just going to miss your half HP, so we're not going to get an extra, like, load of money. Bits with Ink Drain scare me. There we go. And I think we're going to use this again. All right. Pretty rough exchange, I would say. I think we could use a little bit of magic power here, but is it worth more than 8 HP? That's a little rough. We're going to go ahead and say yes, even if I don't necessarily believe in it. Of these options here, putting burn on rope friction isn't bad, especially because we have Beta Flame. I could see that being a thing. Okay. Binding Empowerment always. Potion of Power would have been much more useful back there. Flame Infused Threads is interesting. I don't think we want to pull enemies toward us. Those are kind of scuffed, not gonna lie. I think we might re-roll that. I think Hexing Threads is very important for us. We'll go ahead, we'll take Hex Threads. We need defense here, although, I mean, Flame Infused Threads does add up in combination with our Beta Flame. I don't disrespect it, but is that better than us getting defense going into a hard fight? I mean, I suppose we could just buy, what am I trying to say, buy a heal, but we don't like buying heals. Accurate Image is technically like prevention against us just keep hitting thread with our crits. Like, these are both very interesting. You know what? Let's take flame-infused threads. Why not? Okay, so we're looking at glyphs now. Where are our purples going? Basically, we're doing a whole bunch of DOTs here. I could honestly see our purples not caring at all. We don't know what our 5th binding is yet. We could still put crit on Stitch. Even though it got nerfed, it's still, when we're juicing charges, it hasn't changed, technically. And it having more crit chance is good. We could double crit on Stitch. Is double crit on Stitch good? I don't know. If we double crit on Stitch, we want things to be threaded, then we're likely going to take Constrict and we're going to put shielding on it. And if we're going to put shielding on it, then it gets a cooldown. So Constrict's pretty much been spoken for. Okay. So I think we're honestly good enough that we don't need glyphs. Like, the only reason why we would want glyphs at this point is to re-roll our ascension to make sure that we get one of the Weaver ascensions, because those are very important to us. I honestly think that alone is actually worth it. Yeah, we should do that. Okay, right there. Take this, wiggle out, just bop you. Okay. We're looking pretty good. I don't think that we after image here. We're going to want to after image here because we don't want to get bopped by this worm that we're totally not going to kill. So first things first, let's hit you with that. If we know we're going to use after image, let's go ahead and use it now. It's a pretty good threading. If we get controlled weaving, we get to walk out of this in one piece. We have 2. I think we can actually just stutter step out of here. So then let's go ahead, put some more DOTs on. Honestly, having you dead would be nice. How much burn damage are you taking? Quite a bit. This will kill you? I'm cool with that. I can go for that. You're living by that much. I say no. You can be finished. Okay, this is a little spicy. I think that we can thread everything for cheap. Question is, do we want to constrict now? It does a thing. I don't think that it's bad. Getting these guys low, adding more burn. At this point, another 2 burn would put you at what? About 66? So the question is Constrict plus another 2 stacks going to make it? I think it does. Because it's doing 33 currently. You have 55. And then we'll have 2 stacks of burn. That deal 30. Yeah, okay, so that'll kill you if we're willing to tank you, which I guess that we're going to just have to deal with. I don't want to lose the ability to thread these guys, so we're going to hit that. I want to get the best angle here possible, because now we're going after you 2. Threading all that. Picking up the Porb. And, hey, that's actually pretty freaking good. The only other thing that I would consider is maybe doing that, but like this takes care of a lot of damage. We don't get hit by ink drain. Okay. Feeling really good about that. And unfortunately, we're still gonna like get bopped here, so let's make sure that we just hit everybody. Give you guys some hex. That should be the last bit of damage that we take. Watch me be wrong. I will constrict. I will thread, orb. Question is this setup worth taking 3 damage down here? Because that's what we're currently looking at. I don't think it is. We have constrict, we have crit. Like, we don't have to worry about this guy right here. Where's my orb? It's over here. Gotcha. Understood. I remember now. Alright, we gotta... Those crits do rack up, though. I'll tell you that. Let's go ahead and take this, because of the fact that we have... our thread isn't going to eat it, so we like it. I think if we hit this... 2, 3. Alright. I'd say that was pretty good. Some base crit chance would be nice. We said we wanted... We do want cooldown on here, but we also want cooldown here. So we'll take it. Because that's going to help our single target tremendously. A Jinx? I actually don't mind here. Poison Vapor is also notable. We could also spend our spare actions just restoring health on us, but I really don't like Restoration. Like, I respect it, especially in multiplayer, but I just hate using it. And then you get all those weird-ass, like, augments filling your pool. I'd have to feel very confident in our abilities to not die late on because of the fact that we have scaling now. And currently, all we have is a bead of flame and many ways to cause burn. Like, that's all. That's literally all we do. We didn't get any burn damage in the fonts. We didn't get any good like sources of magic power in the fonts. We have some crits. That's all we got. So I'm looking at our problems here. We kind of have some single target now for the rest of book 1 due to the fact that we now have constrict on -1 cooldown. So we can constrict, orb constrict, and that actually places a ton of burn on Inferno if it's the closest thing to us when we pick up the orb. It's worth like, what is this given? 3? So that's 7 stacks of burn. That's quite considerable. The problem is like, how are we going to get along with anything else? And later on, that's going to stop working. Unless we somehow like really roid up constrict. We're going to have to rely on Stitch. And Stitch isn't good versus Cynder because of the fact that, well, there's usually at most 3 things on the screen. So is Stitch going to be good enough with only 3 things? Certain ascensions of Stitch do, because it just says, hey, I'm going to do this much damage no matter how much stuff you have threaded, which is both good and bad. In this case, I would certainly want it. But we're going to run into issues in Book 2 with single target and currently AoE if Stitch does not pop off. Poison Vapor isn't really going to solve that. Poison Vapor makes us need defense more because it doesn't, like, it does good burst damage, but it's not going to solve any problems. If we got, I don't know, Whistle, then at that point we could spam Vapor, and we could use that as a good, reliable, like, continuous single target strategy, again, if we've solved defense. Honestly, it might be Restoration. I would like to pick up Jinx, because I think that it solves that single target issue, but it does not solve that single target issue versus Cynder. And so it comes down to, is our burn going to be good enough to deal with that? I think that Jinx is just barely pickable here, but I'm not sure that it's the right play. Restoration, making it so that it doesn't have another skill to hit, is like its mainstay here. And whenever we have Spare Will, which is generally not when you're Weaver, we get to heal ourselves, and that's something. Hoy. I keep looking at Jinx. Poison Vapor's decent too. We don't have a source of like plus damage taken. Poison Vapor would give us that source of plus damage taken. And so then that would be like our help. But I don't know, it's pretty rough. I just hate taking Restoration. I hate it that much. That said, we can get Resilient or whatever it is. The ability, it's like 25 DR on it. We can get I believe shielding on it, which helps us. I believe we can get is it cooldown reduction? It can heal a little bit more. It's just, it's not worth one. And every time that I mention this, everybody's like, yeah, but what if you get regeneration? I'm not going to take a skill for its ascension. If I was taking skills for its ascension, I would take Jinx every single time, because Dread Harvest is just disgusting. It is absolutely off the walls insane. It is probably... Dread Harvest is probably one of my top 10 skills in the game. I am not joking. It is... it's ludicrous. But the thing is that even if we get all the glyphs in the world, you can't guarantee an ascension, so why am I picking something when I'm currently struggling in Book 1 for that? I don't know, there's a little bit of a precursor for the sit-down Saturday, I guess. But basically it boils down to that fact that this is a very rough... This is a very rough decision. I think I'm going to take Poison Vapor. But I'm not going to feel good about it. Because if Poison Vapor gets crit, it's going to feel like absolute ass. I think we desperately need to find something in the shop that's going to save us. Dun's Head? Poison Thorn's pretty good. I could see Poison Thorn. Is Poison Thorn Shadow Shroud worth not healing? Versus Rinferno? I think so. To be honest, I think that it's just fine. Poison Thorn helps us get our quest. Yeah. The 2 magic power is going to be... It's more than we got, right? I think we might have 1 magic power. Yeah, it's huge. Okay. I don't think that we're going to be able to easily get... Well, maybe. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. What does this look like? Just a little bit of wiggling. Okay. That's going to cost 1, 2, 3, 4. If you get controlled weaving, we will have our orb. So we have 2. We're going to take all this frickin' damage, though, is the only issue there. If we would have taken a plus 10 on this, then we would just one-shot these bits, and life would be grand. If we thread everything, Constrict will take care of the bits, but it won't take care of the spears, so we take 8. We could take this potion. Would this potion bring us to the point to where we kill these bits? Yes, because we have Shadow Shroud. Okay, I'm feeling better about this. I think we wiggled that wrong. We probably should have hit this guy, went over here, threaded these guys, came back, threaded, or used the orb to wiggle. Okay, so we mismanaged that. Now what do we do? I think it's pretty much... I think we almost have to... We're not standing here, that's for damn sure. So if we're over here, what do we got? We can constrict. If we constrict, we only take 4 damage. Let's try and put ourselves as close to Inferno as possible. Okay. Okay, so I really wish that this would hit everybody. I don't think we have much choice. Guess we could thread you. There we go. Thread you. Thread you. This will give us controlled weaving. We can hit everybody. And then, of course, I need to get as close as possible. And we still can't really wiggle out. I mean, this is fine. We're out. Okay. Do I even auto-attack you? See, this would be a point where we could heal ourselves had we taken Restoration, because I don't think that this extra, like, 30 damage is going to mean that much. I suppose we might as well throw it out. We'd hate to not have it. It's also a good point for Cultivate, especially in Renferno fight. We could have put that in the center of the arena, but we weren't offered Cultivate, so no use crying about that. We want to get as close to this without being in the effect as possible, because we want to try and wiggle into that orb range. Which the game is not agreeing with us with. Oh, there it is. And then we'll just slurp on out. We will probably hit you guys. Try and hit, very good. Okay. And then we'll constrict, because that does like crazy damage when we crit. That is terrifying. I don't even know what the heck to think about all this. We're gonna take damage. That's one thing to think about. Give me that orb. I honestly think we're walking over here. I want to hit both of you guys. Constrict. Shame we didn't get the shielding, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Inferno's going off to La La Land. It's okay, we got things over here we gotta deal with. There's controlled weaving in case we wanted it. We use constrict. We're gonna put burn on Inferno. We can take care of this guy. Pick up this power orb. Constrict again. And because it's global, not when he's on the bottom of our screen, we can't hit him. That is pretty sucky. Alright. Well, after he's done stomping, we want him to come up here to the top left. So we're going to stand here. Oh. We're just barely able to wiggle out. Are we able to wiggle out and hit the both of you? That would be great. No. Okay. So we are probably going to spike Inferno. Does Magic Pixel exist? Magic Pixel does exist. Now can we hit you? Huh? You wanna agree with us? That really is unfortunate. So I guess I'm going to just hit you guys here. We are currently in a bomb. There's really nothing else for us to do, so I'm going to just go ahead, walk down here. Pick up this orb. And now we're going to just come down here and... Well, I guess we can do one of these. Or we can do one of these. And a hit constrict. Okay, we're pretty much done here. Yeah. Constrict showing its chops there. Then again, what is our critical damage is currently double, and we add another 100% whenever we use after image. Oh, thank the Lord. Okay, so this also solves our single target. Weave is kind of good here, I think, because it gives us ability power. Although I don't know when that applies, because do we have control weaving? When does it check that? Does it check it during DOTs? I suppose that's something that we could check here. Otherwise, tether is great for DOTs. It's also our single targets. It really helps us a lot in the things that we're trying to do. If we do end up getting like some sort of like plus damage here, I'd be willing to take it on tether simply because this just solves things. It's great. I was talking about how our #1 problem, single target, we don't have to worry about constrict anymore. This is basically like half the damage of constrict. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this is great. If we get spun threads, the purple on thread, we want it now because it actually gives us like insane damage. It does everything a growing build needs. The only reason why I would take weave is because the way that enemies cluster around a lot and the way that this lobs is much more notable because we're able to get batches of enemies a lot easier. It's sort of like a give and take, honestly, though, because it doesn't like completely solve like threading enemies, because there's times where your thread would just be able to shoot through 2 targets and get 2 targets, whereas this can't do that. The main thing that you would take this is that control weaving gives you +3 ability power, which honestly, it's kind of garbage in my opinion. the reason why I would take this is because it's much easier to aim. And you don't have to worry about like wiggling around and trying to get like vertical all the time. Most cases, weave is better than thread. But with tether on screen, I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, we're gonna take tether. I'll tell you what, constrict doesn't seem bad at all. Discounted image basically paying for itself is also somewhat notable, but it's not always going to hit the thing that we want it to hit. I mean, I guess it's still like -1 will, but it's with Weaver, it's not necessarily going to hit the thing that we want to use this turn. And so then what does that do? It basically does nothing. Like if that hits Poison Vapor when we don't want to use it because we need a single target right now, like some of you guys might say, well, Poison Vapor is your single target. Like, no. At this point, Tether is our single target, and Constrict might still be our single target. Like, we'll use Poison Vapor when we need it, but if all of a sudden it hits Stitch and there's only one enemy on the screen, it's really going to feel bad. And we already are kind of in a situation where After Image sometimes feels bad. So I would much rather it be put into a button that actually could use it. Like Cross Stitch doubling its damage is pretty good. Constriction gaining even more single targets. Like the number one thing we actually need right now is like clearing mobs, and I think that Cross Stitch will certainly help us do that. The only other thing, maybe we reroll, try and get the critical stitch, but I think we honestly just want to. Another thing that's notable is that if we reroll and we end up getting Poison Vapor plus damage, if it's plus poison damage or if it's even plus % damage versus enemies that are poisoned, we still have Poison Thorn. So that's basically us tethering things. They have Hex plus that. It's plus 50% damage. That's also pretty much solves our... It's mainly just single target, but we're going to need to do that at some point. Question is, do we need that more than Cross Stitch right now? I think we need Cross Stitch. We need something that we don't hate using. And right now I kind of hate using Cross Stitch. Thank you for the healing. Plus poison damage. Notable. Especially because we now have quite a bit of it. Where are we going? Garden for pacifism? We don't care about pacifism. We have a little bit of magic power that is going to eventually disappear. But otherwise, we gain enough ability power to not care about it. And I definitely don't think it's Inkshell with our current setup. We could maybe go to the Radiant Market with Thief is there, but I think Garden's at like DOT's pacifism, Chef Kiss. So we're definitely not picking up that. But if we're going to the Garden, we're most likely going to run into Earthshakers, so we do need that single target. So I honestly wouldn't be against having Poison actually do something right now. Because when an Earthshaker shows up, we're likely just going to poison the whole screen. And see where we go from there. I do want to hit up the Gardener, so long as it isn't terrible. Because I have one of the last quest lines to go. And setting that up would be great. Well, you guys are frickin' rude, aren't you? Alright. I'm gonna hit you. I think I'm going to poison you. There's our... No, that's not our run quest. That was a daily quest. God damn. Come on, man. Hello? Oh, only you are threaded, that's why. Um, spike you again? I don't think that that's the thing. I think what we're trying to do is get out of here. So let's go ahead and take this. Like, we can go ahead and spike you. Power orb. Oh, this is a little awkward. Well, I mean, this is kind of like the best it gets, and you're gonna die due to DOT. You guys are still here. You guys are gonna blight bomb, which is annoying. I guess I'll go ahead and do that. This is equally awkward. Okay, so... You really are gonna just be annoying, aren't you? Well, okay. So no one's about to have fun. Yeah, I think this is the right move here. Saves us from like 10. Bats. Why is it always gotta be bats? We knew it was gonna be bats when we came here. Alright. Looking good. Unfortunately, these guys over here, these blight bombs, they're gonna deal some frickin' damage to us. The only way that we could possibly get out of that is killing just one after image. Which, what would that even look like? Let's go ahead and find out. It's not quite what I was looking for. Anyways, we can do this. Alright. Now we just gotta make sure that we kill this guy, which shouldn't be too hard. Go ahead, thread you again. Bop you again. That was close. Dare I say it might be important to take up Pendant of the Weaver. Let's take a look at what this is. Byron's Talking Book could be pretty huge for us. Inflicting Dazed is pretty huge. We don't have any movement abilities. Mirror Spire Pact is nothing. I think of these options here, it's going to be Byron the Talking Book, and we just hope that it gives us shielding every single time. Here we need... Is it cooldown? I kind of need a Blue Og is what I need. Is there a Blue Og coming up? There is. Okay. So we can afford to reroll this. Let's take a look at this. More crit damage? No, we're taking healing, my friend. What's happening here? It may very well be Pendant of the Weaver. We currently don't have our defenses in order for me to take Beat of Metal. This might honestly be... If we re-roll here, then we're not going to get our Blue Og right away. It's the only thing that's kind of getting me. Deceitful Runes isn't bad. Pendant of the Weaver isn't bad either. It might just save us. I think we're going to go ahead and take Deceitful Runes. I said that we could re-roll this. -1 cooldown on After Image just seems like it's the thing that we want to do, though. I don't know of anything else that... I don't think we need to re-roll this, is basically what I'm trying to say. Binding Empowerment, yes. We are glad that that does not contest the Gardener. There's shield per enemy hit. We love to see it. Further wider range, maybe. It honestly might just be Stitch again. It could help us solve our single target, but I think we almost want to get another cross stitch on that. Maybe negative cooldown on Poison Vapor so that we have access to it more often. I think we can also reroll these. Wider AoE is probably what we need. Do we need a rare augment? Rare augment could very well be shielding on Stitch. I ask because I think we need money. We're going to have to heal at some point here. Gardener should also give us money. Flask of Serendipity is very well appreciated. Okay, I think we can get Controlled Weaving here. Is that a good idea, though? That's the main question. I think we want to use this. I think we want to tether you, spike you, poison everything, wiggle out, pick up this orb. We are scot-free. I honestly just want to get rid of you. Is that rude? We can also sort of finagle this. In fact, there's no reason not to do this. So we'll do it. The bats again. Okay, hold up. Why did you guys die, though? I wasn't paying attention. What the heck? Like, I know we deal poison damage, but... Oh, you know what? Byron probably gave us AP. Let's go, Byron. Excuse me? Where's the last enemy? Hold up. I mean, thankfully we have this. This will pretty much take care of everything. But it's certainly not fun. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and poison everything. We can... Like, it's not even technically us getting Controlled Weaving. It's just us killing bats at this point. Let's not take damage. We get Controlled Weaving anyway. Spike this man. He's dead. He's dead. I think this build is starting to finally, like, flip over. I'll tell you what. 4 physical power certainly feels a lot better than 15 healing. But I think we need the 15 healing. Like, basically, this takes our constrict and makes it insane. But we don't have constrict for single target, technically. We need to stay alive instead. Reduce the highest cooldown. Joke's on you, you're going to be the highest cooldown. Otherwise, rerolling this is going to give us nothing. Blue Spine Cod? I can dig that. I think that's worth more to us than Flask of Serendipity. I don't think we want any of this. In fact, it kind of makes me mad. I suppose if we have, what is it? If Byron gives us AP, Putrefy is actually... Oh, it's a distant area. It doesn't hit everything around us. Toxify hits everything around us. Toxify could also technically be our group clear, so long as we're able to kill stuff with it. We have single target. We could kill stuff. Could really help during the Chapter 3 elites. But I think we honestly want to reroll here. I think doubling Entwine is fine. Strangulate is... Again, this isn't really our... I mean, I guess we want things threaded, so it really doesn't matter, but I like the option of having an AoE. This will secure money pot. Alright, Gardner, what do you got to say? Hold up, I gotta, like, loot your books first. Okay, now I'm ready for story time.
Oh, did we all agree to the Inkbound's plan? Did Frida? Did we also all agree for you to fashion yourself into some sort of innocuous scribe? Or was that your own misplaced nobility? No. The Inkbound will have to do without everyone's involuntary compliance. Especially that of our quiet friend here, hmm? Yes, though our memories seem to differ considerably. Needless, I believe a mutual friend of ours, Ohm, might be able to clear up some of this confusion. Perhaps you could pay them a visit.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Floral Amulet transposition is pretty interesting. I'm mainly after it for the plus 10 crit. Primeval Clay also isn't bad. It sets its up turn 1, which we've got a pretty decent turn 1 right now with like Poison Vapor AoE, and doubling the amount of poison that's on everything is relatively good. It would have been very good if we had Toxify, because then we could like pretty much kill the Chapter 3 elites just off of that alone. Otherwise, I think it's Amulet. We could reroll here, but I need to visit the shop. I think that we desperately need items, so we're going to go ahead and go here. Earthshakers! Yay! Alright, let's hit you. Let's hit you. Byron, you gave us damage again, didn't you? You the best. Hit everyone with that. I almost want to spike you guys like that. Anyways, I think the correct move here is just to grab this orb and wiggle down. Am I willing to take 2 just to stack a little bit more burnout? Oh, you're frickin' done. Game over. This seems like the right move. It's kind of dangerous because of how well this actually works. It'll put that enemy right there. We're probably gonna get hit. You can always do that next turn. Let's just solve our damage. Gives us a controlled lead. Well, I mean now. There we go. And they're both almost dead. That's good. You want our Shakers dead as soon as possible, especially when they have Plat Cannon. Oh my god. Hit, hit, hit. Yeah, that'll do. Let's do it this way, though. That way you don't gotta worry about lining people up. We're also unthreading people as we're threading people here, so we're gaining some disgusting damage. And I am here for it. Orb me? Can I spike you? Oh, you've been unthreaded, my man. This will solve some issues. It'll give us a total of 6 shield. Nobody's technically attacking us for this AoE. You're going to gain a damage. You're also probably going to gain a damage by the end of the turn from this guy. So then you're going to be at 12. And if you're at 12, how much damage is this doing? Like 500. I think this is the right move. Okay. We're gonna take 2 damage, but that's perfectly fine. I'm not sure that we can get away with this. That's pretty good. But the question is like, how do I get here? I don't think we do. I think we're taking damage. At least you don't have as much damage as all the others, but we're about to kill a ton of bats, so you're gonna have as much damage as all the others. That's kind of suffer. If I can somehow... Like, we really can't... We can technically thread everything, and then do nothing. If I could get a twofer in there, that would really seal the deal. Oh my good lord, he's done it. Controlled weaving. Why don't I have controlled weaving? And before there's a bug with tether where it won't give you controlled weaving sometimes. Like, there's nothing else on the screen. There's no reason why it shouldn't be giving me controlled weaving. And so I can only spike you for like half. Whereas I was kind of hoping to just, like, you know, spike you, shield from everything. Man, like, that's just frickin' suffer, I gotta tell you. So I can only do 1, so it's gonna be this. And we're gonna take 10 for it. I'm just so upset now. Don't you do this. I got controlled leaving there. Explain that. My main problem is that I don't think that we can like spike this man and get away to tell the tale. Might have to be a poison to deal some more considerable damage, and then we go ahead and we constrict everything because that's the best way to take care of that damage. Yeah, I think that's the play. But now we pretty much have to like take care of you here. Which I suppose we have constrict for that. God, that was annoying. Chalice of Champions? Hello? No, I don't think that's it. Ringleader's Hat is pretty much what I'm looking for here. Something to help us trade a little bit better, because we're trading a lot, and it gives us will on the next turn, which we use. We'd like to see a lot of will in this build, which is another reason why we have Byron. If it gives us +2 will, that's insanity. Pressurization Tank is something. It starts us pretty well right now, but we don't want to be this low usually. I think we're taking Ringleader's Hat. Otherwise, we could technically re-roll this at this point. This is very early. What would we be re-rolling for? Mobius. Mobius could go pretty hard. Faulty Flask. We're going up against Cynder, so we could use better single target stuff. We don't really daze. I suppose if we got it early enough, what is it? Miser's Purse would go pretty hard. Let's take a look at what we got over here. +10 crit chance. Okay, game. I'll take it. We still need ringleaders. Like, that hasn't changed. I think we want purples on Patchwork. It might honestly just be Sturdy Threads. It's not going to give us much versus Cynder, but it's going to give us something versus Cynder, and I think that's the important thing here. And there are times during the elite fight where we're going to be thankful that we have this. I don't know, is that actually true? I feel like it can't not be true. Maybe it's free vapor. Free vapor would be kind of nice. Okay, do we honestly need to go to the refuge? I think we do. Like, I'm no longer feeling good for Nim. Harmonizing Whistle is insanity. What does that replace? I think it honestly replaces Poison Thorn. Poison Thorn doesn't really do that much for us. And I don't know what else we do here. We could buy this aspect because of the up tier, but I don't think that's the case. It would certainly solve our single target. We get that on Cynder, and we're all of a sudden doing stupid damage. Yeah, honestly, that alone. Like, I guess we don't technically need Deceitful Runes, but now we're pretty much going to use Poison Vapor as soon as it's up on our turn. And so that's going to hit a Hex on everything. Yeah, I think we're buying Aspect. We'll get rid of Shadow Shroud. Okay. I have no idea what our purples are now. I think it's going to be Poison Vapor and then either Stitch or Tether, whichever one gets it. I don't think that we really care that much. And we're like just short there. Okay, so that wasn't something that I factored in. I don't really feel good taking this. Do we take a blue spine cod? It might honestly be this lucky horseshoe crab. Controlled weaving. We want the shields. Give me my orb. Lots of stuff attacking me. How much damage am I taking here? None, actually. We shielded enough. Okay, game. Then let's reduce more cooldowns. Yeah, honestly, we're almost good for Nim. So maybe we want to spike you first. What did we get here, by the way? We got +5 shielding. That is huge. Thank you, game. Alright, there we go. We've got gaze on Nim. That's perfect. I just want to thread you guys. Then I'm going to constrict, spike you, constrict again. I'm honestly perfectly fine with you guys being here. Kill you on the turn after, stack up some more poison on you, and then trading 2 is fine. Constrict. After image, it is. Okay. We used a physical. Let's go ahead and do this. And you're just barely not done. I guess we're going to use this then. That'll get you there. What we need now is like a sparking or a malform tracing. Spun threads would be huge for us right now. It's basically free damage. It is free real estate. This is kind of spooky. Is this actually going to solve my problems? It looks like I'm probably going to have to do something like this. All right. We are kind of running into spooky territory here with Nim's current damage levels. I think we're going to be fine, though. We might trade a bit right here. Is it just one bit? Come on now. I didn't mean literally. Go ahead, set that up. Holy. Okay. Tangle makes it so that we thread everything around us, or around the target, which is huge for us getting controlled weaving. Splice detaches, but it also just does insane damage. Like, this is rough, honestly. This also might be a reroll. What do we got over here? Spun threads, we're definitely taking that. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, so we only need 2 here. We can reroll this. What are we trying to reroll this into? Toxify would be okay. We would be fine with getting, honestly, more evasion on after image would be great. Like, the best thing about Tangle is that it doesn't really care about, like, how many enemies we have threaded. But that's currently our best part about Stitch right now, is that it's 77 damage per threaded enemy. If we have 2 enemies threaded, it's pretty much Tangle. And as far as single target, our single target is basically entwined tether, like, alternating. So I don't think that we need Splice. Here we go. This would stop giving us crit, but we would still be able to get the precise from it. And it gives us 4 stacks of evasive, which solves most of our problems. I honestly think Blur is what we're looking for here. The 1 stack is Swift, I really don't care. But 2 crit charges means that it's probably, like, if it hits Vapor and Tether, like, okay. But it's probably going to hit something that we actually want it to be on. You get 2 stacks of evasive, which is pretty much enough for the Chapter 3 elites, and it's more than enough for the Cynder fight. 4 stacks of evasive at this point is just overkill. We don't need that many. I'm perfectly fine with Blur here. This is definitely going to end up being a long video, though. Did a lot of explanation, though, so I hope it's worth it. Okay. We're always starting out with this. And I think at this point, that does okay. I want to keep Blur. Honestly, if we're going to move in... Oh, I guess we can't hit you both. Alright, you're going to move here. I'm going to pick up this Porb. I'm probably going to stack more poison on you. And I think we're fine here. Yeah, you're dead. I kind of want to keep these threads. So I guess I can go ahead and click you. And so then that gives us more, like 5 more ability power for the rest of them. Okay, I honestly want to get a detach here. I want to hit you. Get this for the cooldown reduction. And now we have a physical, so let's go ahead and pick up this Porb. Hit you. Then I think we come into here, poison everything. Just keep stacking this burn stuff. Can I detach you? Yes. All right. Did I see that right? Okay. We're at a quarter of it. I was like, did we really just get close to beating the party event by ourselves? Answer is no. Alright. Very confident in our single targets. I really like Armored Porcupine here. Thunderstruck Bell is also notable because, again, we have single targets, so if we shock everything, and let's say we've got Cynder, everything's shocked, we go ahead, we spike them with a very good Entwine. Everything gets hit by it. Is it going to be enough to kill, like, anything in the Cynder fight? It's definitely not going to do anything to a Tangle, right? They're going to laugh at us. But at least we get to... How do I say this? It's going to help with the Cynder Cultist if they're on the field. Honestly, though, like, none of this is really doing it for me. We want to save for the healing, so we're not going to, like, reroll on this. We're probably... I don't know. Armored Porcupine, maybe? Is that better than Ringleader's Hat? We kind of don't get hit anymore? And if we don't get hit, then why are we taking Armored Porcupine? We will get hit. They also put a limiter on Porcupine, I see. Maybe it is Thunderstruck Bell then. I can see Thunderstruck Bell instead of Beat of Flame. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take that. What do we got here? Heal me. That's what we got here. Let's go ahead, take Debilitating Poison. Bit of a funky build, but we got there. Can't afford anything here. Barely. We're going to top off on healing. Take our fish. Alright. This will be interesting. It's really dependent on what Byron rolls. I would really like plus will here, actually. Plus will would probably be better than us getting damage. We got damage anyways. That's fine, though. I'm fine with that. This first, like... shock is going to get wasted. Okay. And now we're kind of set up here. Where that actually causes like a considerable amount of damage here. I will take the Cleansing Shroom, thank you. And we're going to... a little awkward with Tether here, but we're going to make it work. And I honestly don't know what else to do here. We could just keep doing stuff because reasons, but there's really no point to do that. My free gaze. Basically, I don't know if I did this on stream, but there's a bug currently that if Cynder's in the air, I guess he doesn't count as in play. Or she, I don't know. So it chooses another enemy to put gaze on. So, I'm down. There's controlled weaving. Go ahead, spike. Spike again. I mean, honestly, all we're gonna do here is just get degen, as in degenerate. It's a little bit of a shame that we're going to get hit there, but this is going to drop the mushroom on the enemy turn, so this mushroom is going to be here for 2 turns. We love it. Let's go ahead and hit you with, actually, you're a piece? I guess if that's technically more damage, we're going to do it. Didn't we grab this? Or did we accidentally like shuffle through here on the way in? A bit embarrassing if so. Give me that. I'll gladly take 4 damage besides having 7 Cynder pox. You're gonna phase regardless. We just gotta worry about you two. I'm always concerned about you two. Let's go ahead and get some grit. It's something. And we're going to evade. So I really don't know what we're doing with the rest of this, but let's spike you, I guess. Like, this is just awkward. Guess I'll come in here, take this. Okay. Let's start by threading. Then we're going to do this. This. Crit. This. Just, you know, typical Weaver murder music going on here. Tether doing his job. Can I wiggle in for that? You're rude. I wanted that orb. Anyways, again, apologies for the longer video. I guess it still came back to about an hour and a half because unfortunately the Cynder fight was just me saying this, and this, which hopefully you guys understood what the hell was going on. Basically just whistle shenanigans. It would have been a little bit better if we didn't have Tether, but we also wouldn't have had as much damage if we didn't have Tether. Weird altercation there. I guess in the overall scheme of things, like Tether didn't really do that much for us. We probably could have went with what is it, Weave? Weave was the one that gave AoE, and we wouldn't have ran into like that little sort of weird situation where we would have to detether something and then we had to tether it again. Made us a little bit less efficient once we got the whistle, but since we had the whistle, it just meant that we could spike things. Like, we didn't even have anything in this thing, and Entwine was still doing disgusting damage. I think that has, I don't know. Who are you? I'm Smash but better. That's all I have to say about that. Anyways, hopefully the run was educational or at least entertaining. If you have any feedback whatsoever, be it questions, comments, concerns, misplay alerts, be sure to leave that down in the comments below. And until next time, we will catch you guys around.